Hey everyone, Big Pauly back with a brand new video. Back for another episode of stuff that I could be bothered to watch. That's right, stuff that I've grabbed off the shelf, shoved into the old 4K player and just watched. About time I watched some stuff. Now, September's video is not going to be as long as August's video because I haven't had a huge amount of stuff to watch this month because of other things. So yeah, we're going to do a short one before October comes, because for October I am going to be watching only horror films for the entire month of October, and I have a stack like that. So look out for that one at the end of October. That will be up on the 31st of October, Halloween. But for now, let's get into watching what I've seen in the later part of September, starting with Dangerous Animals. Okay, so everybody likes a good shark film. Except this really isn't a shark film. There's sharks in it, but it's not really a shark film. It stars Jai Courtney, who for many, he's not a really good actor. He's been in a few good things. He played John McClane's son in Die Hard 5. I think it was 5. And also Suicide Squad. But this role was perfect for Jai Courtney. He plays the owner of this kind of like fishing expedition boat where you go out and with a shark cage you take out holiday makers and, you know, tourists to go out and swim with the sharks and get in a cage, go down and just, you know, observe all the sharks. But it's a little bit more than that, because he's actually the shark. He ain't got a fin on his head or anything like that, but it's more of a serial killer and imprisonment film than actually a shark film. He plays this absolute psycho who likes to kidnap women, chain them up on his boat and feed them to the sharks for his own pleasure. That's it. That's basically the whole film. Of course, you get one Hassie Harrison, I think that is. She's the lead, and she kind of fights back. So it's against her versus the shark, Jai Courtney. And yeah, to try to get away. I thought it was really good. It was gripping. It wasn't too long. It was about an hour and a half. And it did everything that it says on the tin. Dangerous Animals, not necessarily in the water. But I've got to say, Jai Courtney made this film really entertaining. His best role yet. I just hope that we get more kind of like sinister, psychotic roles from him, because I think he fits that kind of genre more than anything else. But I would definitely recommend Dangerous Animals. 1, if you're into sharks. 2, if you like serial killers. And 3, if you just like crazy psycho twats. Yeah, Dangerous Animals. Yeah, definitely give that one a thumbs up. So give that one a go. Okay, next up, I was in a kind of social media mood. So I decided to watch The Social Network, because I've never seen it before. It's from David Fincher. Apparently it was it an Oscar winner? I don't know if it was an Oscar winner. Anyway, yeah. Of course, I use Facebook. Lots of people use Facebook. I know of Mark Zuckerberg, but I don't know the story behind Facebook, how it came to be, and the creation of it. So it was interesting to just watch this for kind of like a trainee's purpose. Yes, so the story revolves around Mark Zuckerberg, who goes to Harvard University. You know, he's all computer and techie and all like that. And he designs this computer program where people can look at other people and talk to other people and all that kind of stuff. Facebook. It wasn't called Facebook when it first started. It was called The Facebook. But whether or not he actually came up with the idea is up for debate, because he kind of like stole some of the ideas from a couple of other characters, which was played by Armie Hammer, who played two roles, identical like twin brothers, that was in another college or another university. We also have Andrew Garfield as well, who's ends up being the chief financial officer of Facebook. He looks after the money. He's the numbers man. And we also have Justin Timberlake as well, who's kind of like an entrepreneur who helps make Facebook grow and just gets it out there into the world. So I thought it was a good film, showing you the ins and the outs of how Facebook started, you know, from its very early beginnings, and how it progressed through the universities and how it branched out and that. But there's also a lot of rivalry in there as well, when it all comes down to money and numbers and percentage, you know, who owns what stock and stuff like that, and a few getting screwed over for their part of, you know, the ownership of Facebook. Performances were good. I think Jesse Eisenberg came across as a bit of a dick. I should imagine probably that's what Mark Zuckerberg is like, or was like. But the way that he portrayed it, he was kind of like, yeah, this guy is a bit of a dick that created Facebook. But there's also other good performances in there as well from Andrew Garfield. Justin Timberlake didn't really have too much to do. He kind of like came in at the later part of the film. But I think it was a well-structured film. And yeah, it's a good insight into the American universities and what they get up to, and how potential business things happen. So yeah, Social Network. I thought it was a good film. I think for me, it's probably only going to be a one-time watch, though. To be honest, I've never been a really massive fan of Jesse Eisenberg. He's kind of a bit of a dull dork. But I thought he played the character well. But if that's what the character, you know, if that's what Mark Zuckerberg is really like in real life, yeah, he's a bit of a dick. But there we go. That's the Social Network. Okay, so next up, we have Steve Jobs. Yes, this is directed by Danny Boyle and is a part biopic of course, the Apple man, Steve Jobs. This stars Michael Fassbender as Steve Jobs. He's really good in this role. We also have Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, and also Jeff Daniels as well. And this starts out in 1984, where he's trying to get the Apple Mac recognised and get it on the market. There's creative differences in there, and he's eventually let go from Apple and comes up with this new computer called the Cube, which I actually don't even remember, so it must have been that recognisable. And then, of course, he's brought back in as head of Apple to bring us the iMac. And that's basically where the story ends. I thought it might actually go into the iPhone. But there are hints at the end of the film of what could possibly come next with, you know, music in your pocket and getting rid of a stylus because you can't use your other fingers. So they're kind of like hints in there as to know what, you know, what we had coming next. It's a very tangled web with him and Steve Wozniak and other members, you know, the founder of Apple as well, and the press, and mixing that in with his private life as well, which has complications. The film is mainly set around kind of like one location. It's kind of like a, you know, the events, the announcement events where they reveal the new machines. And it's kind of like one place after another. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know how much rewatchability there is in it though, because it is a very dialogue heavy film, and once you know the story, you're not really going to get much more out of it. So it could just be a one-time watch. Now, as for Apple, I mean, I've always been an Apple bitch. Going way back, I had an iPod Nano back in the day. Never had the original iPhone, which if I had, I probably would have framed it on the wall, because apparently they're worth quite a bit now. But for the last 10 years or so, I've just been an Apple bitch. Obviously creating the greatest smartphone ever created with the iPhone. I've gone from the iPhone 6 to the 7. I went up to 9. And then I got up to 10 Max. Then I went up to 4. Then I'm currently on the 14, which is what this has been recorded on now. So I'm on the 14 Pro Max with 1 terabytes of memory. I've not actually gone to the 17. I'm probably going to give it a little rest, because I don't tend to upgrade every year. It's like every 4 years, every 4 or 5 years. So my next iPhone will probably be something like the iPhone maybe 19 or 20. I do have other things, obviously, though. I have an Apple Ultra watch. I also have an Apple iPad there, which I use at work as well to watch some TV programs. And also I spent £500 on a pair of headphones from Apple, which are absolutely fantastic. They've got noise cancellation and everything, and they're just so comfy, you don't even know that they're on your head. So yeah, like I say, I've always been an Apple bitch. It just suits me. I get on with the Apple interface as opposed to any other type of interface. iOS. I have just upgraded my phone to the latest iOS 20. I think it's 26. And yeah, I tried once with a Samsung, and I just didn't get on with it. I just didn't get on with the interface that they use, the Android. Yeah, as soon as I started using an iPhone, I thought, yeah, this suits me. This is perfect for me. So yeah, so call me your little Apple bitch. Yeah. As for Steve Jobs, though, I thought it was a good film. Like I say, I probably won't watch it again, because you just get everything out of it in just that film. Yeah, so it's probably going to be a one-time watch. But it's very well put together, very well edited. Dialogue was good. Michael Fassbender was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it was just a good film. Good film. There we go. That's Steve Jobs. Okay, next up is one of the most underrated end of the world disaster films I think they've ever made. Greenland, starring Gerard Butler and Morena Baccarin. Yeah, this came out in 2020. I think it's one of those sleeper hits, like Pitch Black. Nobody expected it to do as well as it did. But it has always fallen under the radar when it's compared with things like Deep Impact and Armageddon. And it is a fantastic end of the world drama. You get lots of action in it. It's more about the people rather than the actual destruction of the planet itself. So it's about this comet that's gonna hit Earth. It's all got little other bits coming down as well. And Gerard Butler plays a structural engineer. He's like an architect, he builds buildings. And one day he gets a presidential alert to say that he's been selected to go to a bunker in Greenland with his family to basically survive the end of the world. So they have to pack up stuff in the car, head out to this military base where all these massive planes are just picking up people and taking them to Greenland to survive. Unfortunately, they don't let anybody on that's got any kind of medical problem. and the son is actually diabetic, so they won't let him on the plane, and unfortunately they get separated. They have to make their way to the grandparents' house where they can meet up and then work out what they're going to do. There is a possibility of them actually making it to Greenland, but doing it in a different way with a different plane. So yeah, it is edge of the seat stuff. It is absolutely gripping. There's lots of mayhem, and it's like the entire collapse of civilization, rioting and that kind of stuff, and violence, and people doing whatever they can to try and survive, even if it means screwing over other people to take their place. And it is edge of the seat stuff. It is emotional in places. It is a rip-roaring 2 hours, and it's just one of the best end of the world dramas / action films there's ever been made. And I decided to rewatch this now for the first time in 4K, because on today they're actually dropping the trailer for the second film, Greenland 2: The Migration, which is going to be set 5 years after the events. So I am absolutely waiting for this trailer to drop. But in the meantime, I wanted to refresh myself and watch it in 4K for the first time. The picture quality was brilliant in 4K, especially the HDR with like the comet and the explosions and things like that. The sound, absolutely brilliant. DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. And just the impact of the comet and all the other little meteors and fragments hitting the ground and the explosions really put my subwoofer into overdrive. So yeah, if you like end of the world stuff, you know, you like your Deep Impacts, you like your Armageddons, anything like that, any kind of disaster film, and you haven't seen Greenland, where the hell have you been? Yeah, you need to watch this, because this is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so next up we have a streaming film. Yeah, on Apple TV, this is The Lost Bus, starring Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, and also directed by Paul Greengrass. And this is based on true events from 2018, where some part of California, Paradise, because of high winds and a problem with like an antenna, it fueled sparks that went down into the valley and set the hills alight. The hills are alive, with the sound of screaming. Yes, and basically most of California burned. And it's about Matthew McConaughey, who plays a bus driver. He doesn't have the best relationship with his son. He's estranged from his wife. He feels he's trying to make a go in this little town as a school bus driver, but everything's against him, and he kind of feels like giving up. And his boss doesn't give him a break at work either, who runs the school buses. And of course, when all these fires start happening, they have to get all the evacuations together, and he's called into action as being the last bus to pick up a group of school kids to get them out of harm's way from the flames, to get them to another location so they can be picked up by their parents. And that's where I'm going to leave it. It's a really good film. It's one of the best streaming films I have seen in years. Tension, nail-biting, absolutely spectacular visuals. I mean, we are talking big budget visuals here. It made you feel bloody hot. So yes, probably now winterish, autumn winter is probably the best time to watch it. But yeah, it just looked so fantastic. It's a mad rush for all of the inhabitants of these little towns in America to get out of the way of these flames as they rush through, you know, the towns and burn the houses to the ground. And we see these really neat kind of like flame eye views of all these sparkling embers as they get blown by the wind and set something on fire, then you see the flames rushing and going to the next thing. So it's a really good film. It's on Apple TV. It did have a very limited cinema release, I think, for a couple of days. This could have been released in the cinema. I know it's an Apple TV exclusive, but it's a damn shame this didn't get a longer stretch in, you know, thousands and thousands of cinemas, because it would have pulled in a lot of money. So yeah, the budget must have been quite big on this one. Obviously with Matthew McConaughey in there as the lead, and the endless special effects as well. It just looked so damn impressive. And there was some real edge of the moment, tense moments later on in the film, as you've got this bus with all these frightened children in that are in danger of just going up in flames. Yeah, so I would definitely advise to watch this film. Like I say, it's one of the best streaming films I've seen in a long time, if ever. The only problem is we don't tend to get a lot of films released on physical. I'm still waiting for the Tom Hanks film Greyhound about the battleship, because that looks fantastic and it sounds fantastic, and I'd love a 4K, but they have not released that on a physical disc, unfortunately. So I don't know if this is going to get a physical release, an official physical release. I hope it really does. But anyway, yes, that is The Lost Bus, starring Matthew McConaughey. That is on Apple TV. A definite watch. Okay, next up is Tim Burton's Corpse Bride from 2005, starring Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter, and with a musical score by Danny Elfman. So the whole team here. And this stars Johnny Depp as Victor. He's about to get married, and unfortunately he has a bit of a mishap and places the ring on the finger of the wrong woman. The only problem is the other woman is dead. That's right, it's the corpse bride. And by placing this ring on her finger, everything assumes that he's proposed to her and that he's brought her back to life. So she gets reanimated and he gets taken down into the underworld. Now, obviously, this film is stop motion animation and it looks absolutely fantastic. There are a few nods in there to animation gurus such as Harryhausen, which you can see his name on the piano. It is a horror musical, and you've got lots of songs throughout, sung by mainly the dead. What makes this film very stylish, obviously being a Tim Burton film, you're going to be very gothic. But what kind of makes this very interesting is that the land of the living is very grim, very dark, greys, browns, blacks, whites. Whereas when Victor gets down to the underworld, everything is bright colours, bright purples and blues, and it really shines on the screen. Now, Victor doesn't really want to be married to the corpse bride. He wants to go back up to the living and marry Victoria. That's right, Victor and Victoria. There's only an I and an A that separate them, and it's usually the corpse bride's eye popping out. The animation is brilliant in this film. It's so good. It's not an overly long film. It's an hour and 17 minutes. It does its job. It tells the story. And like I say, there's lots of musical numbers in there. It can be a little bit emotional in places. And there's also an opportunity for some of the living to be reunited with those that have passed, including Victor's dog. Roll over and play dead. That was funny. Yeah, so definitely love this film, Corpse Bride. Yeah, so this is a little horror musical gem, The Corpse Bride by Tim Burton. So I would definitely give this one a go if you haven't seen it. And although you can watch this film throughout the year, the ideal time really is you know, this time of season. You know, October, ready for Halloween. So there we go. That's Corpse Bride, an absolutely brilliant little film. Okay, there we are. That is everything that I've watched on physical media and a little bit of streaming for the month of September. Just going over into October as well, but I'm just throwing it in as September's watches. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it by giving it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. See you on the next video very soon. Bye bye.